Okay, we are live. Looks like, okay, so happy Sunday, everybody. Um, no, I usually come to y'all on Saturdays, but I haven't been feeling that well, so we are here today. We are streaming live on YouTube, so hopefully this is working properly. That way we don't have to wait for me to edit it and all of that. So, um, all right. What I wanted to start with was this week we have a lot of data coming out. I don't think it will affect things too much, but we just want to be aware of it. So just know that, every morning, just about there is some type of data that is coming out related to like PMI. I think Thursday, that PMI is Wednesday, Thursday is non-farm productivity, then you got jobless claims, things like that. So be aware of it. It may not do anything with the actual market, but we just want to know about these things. So also, I did not mention last time, I put it in the description, but Runstrat is back, and I think it's really dope that they've added a couple of extra things to the scanner. So, take a look at it. You can group these your scanners by like just the strat or just like specific combinations you like, inside, outside, Randy Jackson, things like that. Patterns, if you want to look for like 1-3, 2-1s, that type of thing. And then they also added RSI on here. And I know everybody in the strat world doesn't use RSI, but it can tell you here if it's, oversold, overbought, in the middle, whatever. So I think that's kind of cool. I don't think that was there before. So, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but yeah, I thought that was really cool. So anyway, all right, getting to the market. So you guys know we only have a couple of days of month left. So we have technically Monday and Tuesday. That's it. So I wanted to, when we come back next week, we're going to have a new month already starting. So I did kind of want to see and show you guys like what has been set up on the month, so you can kind of see what, may continue into next month, especially this bearish activity that we're seeing. So you see a lot of things have now shooters on the month. You got the Russell 2000 here, you got the NASDAQ with the shooter, and then you have the Dow with this outside bar. So if the bearish activity continues, we can look for a 3-2 down, and then, the 2 up, 2 down on the NASDAQ and the Russell. This is not a hammer, but we know that if the VIX breaks above this 2378, that, we can look for 26 as the next target, which will push the market down because this will probably be going up. It did not finish this outside bar, but it definitely could finish it. It could reject there, and then we can be green. But if it pushes past there, I'm going to think that we're going to continue the month red if the VIX is green. Sorry, y'all. Something in my chest. So we are also starting a new 2-week bar this week. So I haven't seen a whole lot of setups on that, by the way, but I do know that there are a couple of 2-week. Well, there is a new bar starting, so we're just gonna pay attention to that. But as you can see, just kind of like with the month, the Dow also has this 3 here. So I think this is a solid support here. If it breaks through here, weakness in the Dow is going to pass through the rest of the market. So the NASDAQ does have this, well, it was a 2 down, so this isn't an actionable signal. Same with the Russell 2000. But on the week, you see this double inside broke down. We had this 32 down. There are really no actionable signals here, but you can just kind of see that the bears took control after a lot of this sideways action. The bears stepped in, and we kind of broke the range. So last week we were talking about really on the daily how we were kind of trading in a range, in a box. Well, the last couple of weeks we were actually talking about that. And so we've broken out of that range, especially with the Dow. So looking here at the Dow, we were talking about how this area it's just been kind of stuck in this area for a while since this is November. So now we've gotten back to this area. We've broken the 200, which we haven't done since back here. Now, granted, it could do this and then break back above. But as of now, I'm looking at, it may do a 2 up here, 2 down, 2 up, 3, 2, 2 up actually. But that would be, my first resistance, this 330. And then this 332. It could definitely come up and test that. But, it's really at an area right now where it's hanging. And I think that if the bulls don't step in strong enough, the bears are just going to continue this because it's broken the range, both ranges really. This range right here and this range right here. Well, it's kind of sitting in this range. So, yeah, I have to see if this continues to show weakness. Then it may, travel down to the rest of everything else. The Russell is still holding above the 200. But everything else is really kind of falling below. See, the NASDAQ is barely holding on here. It's almost under all of the EMAs. So, and you can kind of see that it's making like higher lows. All of them are kind of doing that, making higher lows, kind of starting a downtrend here. That's what it's looking like. And then the VIX is just at this critical moment where it's at its 200. It hasn't broken above the 200 since, the start of our last little bull run, which was about October. So if it breaks above, we can look for, the correlation to the markets with the VIX going up. So keeping an eye on that. So looking at our stuff on the monthly, big old shooter here. Well, this is really a gravestone doji. It's green, but, it's a very long wick, basically a rejection. So looking to see if Microsoft breaks under this 246 for the month, and then it may come down to this 220, 219.19 would be the target there. For Apple, it would be the same thing if it did a 2 up, 2 down. It would need to really break about 140. This is 142, but I know 140 is really like a psychological strong support. So if it breaks that 140, I think it can come down. Target would be that 125. That's a lot of weakness there, but I'm going to show y'all something on the week in a minute, though. And then the Qs, same thing. If Apple and Microsoft both die, then this shooter goes in force under 291.83. And we can target the bottom of this strong support right here. It's probably about 260. But y'all know this right here is kind of a chop area that we were already in. We broke out of it, but it looks like we're just headed right back into this area. But one thing I did want to point out before I get to that, let me just show y'all on the 2 week though, that we do have a couple of insides on the 2 week that will kind of trigger also that monthly with those shooters. But remember also, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I mentioned the PMGs on the week. So if those shooters go in force, the monthlies, they go down, then we have all of these stops to take out. And remember I was saying, these are weekly PMGs, so it may take a while to take them out. We have our consolidation here. We had a couple of weeks of it, and now it looks like it's headed down. So we may see a few weeks of red. It may take a little bit long. It may not go straight down like it went straight up, but we're still aware of these because we know that, we had a very strong move up, had some consolidation. If it breaks here, we may have an equally strong move down, kind of like what it did here. So this is like almost like a PMG down. It went up sideways. It may do it down again. So yeah, so there's actionable signals on the 2 week and the monthly, but not really on the weekly here for the indexes. And then on the day, you can see that everything dropped below its 200. Apple just barely. Apple filled this gap here. So now seeing what it's going to do from here. It's red, but it is a hammer on the day. So if it goes in force and it breaks above this 147.29, which is also the 200, then we can look for it to probably come up here and test this 8, this 150. It definitely could, do some correction, do an H, could, do like this. Depends on what's going to happen. For me, it all looks weak, and I'm looking at those PMGs. So if anything, like I said, there's no weekly signal here, but I would be looking maybe on the 4-hour. Yeah, so like we got some inside 4 hours here. If the weakness continue, then you can use that as entry to catch these PMGs on the downside, or the 2-week trigger, however you want to look at it. But yeah, all of them are kind of looking the same, where they've broken below the 200, are just sitting below. Microsoft here is looking the weakest to me, because it's actually closed under all of the EMAs. So, I was showing you that shooter, that really big shooter on the month. Microsoft is showing me the most weakness, and if that continues, then that should pull everything else down, honestly. I mean, they're just barely holding on. So let's look at SPY on a bigger time frame. So yeah, the same thing with SPY. SPY actually has a Runstrat on the month that it could do. So, if it does this Runstrat, we would look for it to break. Well, it hasn't finished the month yet, but we would look for it to break under the monthly, whatever the monthly close in is, and then our target is going to be at 375.49, 374.49, excuse me. That would be your monthly target next month if it does that Runstrat. And then there's no 2-week signal there or on the week, but we do have the PMG. So, we had our sideways, and now we could definitely come to take all of these people out. And if I draw it, it's going to show all of my drawings. But if you fib this, like, we've broken the 23%, and then we're now like sitting at the 50%. This right here is half of this move. So if it breaks below this 396 area, we can look for it to come down here and take this out, this 375, which is actually the monthly Runstrat target. So see how that kind of aligns with just looking at the move and saying, okay, if it gives back half of that move, then it's almost like dealing with an outside bar. If it gives back half of that move, it's either going to bounce from here and, go back into the trend, or it's going to finish coming back down, take out all these targets. So I think this area is a really strong area. It's also a demand zone. So that's kind of why SPY bounced right here from this 393 area. So this may be a tough area to break. You can kind of see here where it's a support area, where it's bounced from here several times. So even on the day, we might have a 322 up on Monday. My first resistance obviously would be 400, this 200 area, and then it may touch 402. A couple of volume imbalances here if it does want to come back up here and test this, but really I'm thinking that 400 is going to be that resistance. You can kind of see right here where it made a support, resistance, kind of support. So now I'm looking to see if it's going to be a resistance again. And remember this right here, y'all, this whole area where 400 was like a magnet, and then right here like 380 was a magnet. We may do that same thing right here. And I was saying this on the show last week because I saw this head here, and I was saying that the shoulder, this could be a shoulder area. So it may want to do all of this over here to create a shoulder. So that means this shoulder can go from all the way from 393, which is about the bottom, all the way up to, really it can go all the way up to 410. Your shoulder just doesn't want to go higher than your head for the most part, or create a new high here. So if you, kind of draw this here, thinking probably about 407 to the top of the shoulder zone. And then they can make a whole shoulder here and then H down. So we may work out this area a little bit before we drop. Could not. Look at it on the 4 hour real quick. So if you look at it like this, it could possibly come back up here and test this, which is kind of an area it was already ironing out. Could even come up here and iron this out. And that's 408. It's a small gap on the 4 hour. Otherwise, it could come and reject and then start coming back down to these chop areas. Or like I was saying before, how it make it down to that 375 area. Oop. On the wrong stuff. So also, when I was looking at this, like with the uptrend that is kind of currently been in, if you look at it, it's right at that line. So I don't want to, if I put the line there, it's going to show all of my lines, which is kind of crazy on SPY right now, so I'm not doing it. But hopefully y'all can see me drawing this line on how it's like right at the bottom of that uptrend. So this is kind of that do or die moment. It's either going to keep this inverse head and shoulder, cup and handle and bounce from here, or it's going, this head and shoulders is going to shoulder and die from there. I am leaning more towards bearish, but y'all know with the strat we're ready for everything, so I'll give y'all either way directions. All right, so looking at IWM, small caps also have a shooter on the month, so keep watch on that. A lot of these things actually have shooters, so you know, if IWM falls, we will look for the break of wherever it closes at on Tuesday, and then the target would be at 172.01. You know, it's funny, Kiki and I talk about how we talk about IWM every week and don't play it, but it's really cheap, y'all, and it's cheaper to play than SPY, you know, so I keep saying, mentioning it and looking at it, and one time I'm going to remember it, and then I'm going to like really start playing it like I should. So, but yeah, just like everything else, there's no really actionable signals on the week or the 2 week, but you're just kind of looking at that monthly. It did bounce right here at this 200 and printed a hammer. So Monday, 322 up, possible to 190.30. That's actually a cheap play for Monday. So, Kiki, don't let me forget. Don't let me forget. We be holding each other accountable, y'all. So we go watch IWM for a cheap Monday play, 322 up, if it decides it wants to, you know, be bullish, and if it doesn't gap. So let me look at it in Kiki's eyes real quick. Yeah, maybe a retest or the breakdown. It's a shoulder, head, shoulder. So it's looking bearish, but we might have a little bit of correction. Hold on, let me look back at VIX on the day. Okay, yeah, VIX did that same thing it did. It's done this the last few Fridays where it's had a shooter on Friday. Let's see, it was red, nope, and then it gapped up on Tuesday. Yeah, see, this Friday, and then it gapped up on Monday. So hopefully it doesn't gap, but yeah, VIX has had this same kind of pattern where we can kind of expect that Monday may be green. And looking at XLE, it's really kind of not doing a whole lot. Still kind of stuck in this area. It's finding really strong support here at this 83 area. So really needs to break that if it's going to do anything. So it's kind of like a cup and handle. So that may be why it's found support here, because they don't really want to let this drop Even though time frame continuity is trying to go, it's just finding some support there. See, it's kind of been in this same box area between 83 and 93, really, for a while. It broke briefly below, but then now it's here. So it would need to break 83 with some force for it to really look like it's going to come down. And then on the week, you do have an actionable signal here. I like this because I think I was looking at CVX. I'm going to come back to XLE. Yeah. So it's not really a hammer. It's more of a doji. But it is an actionable signal if it does two up on the week. So looking forward to break this 163.79 to two up. So it's kind of the same thing with XLE. If it does a 3-2 reversal, obviously this will be my first resistance. They're kind of tight, so that's 87.79 and then 90.58 if XLE wants to go. And we kind of have didn't finish the outside bar, may finish, and then we have a gap to the upside that it may try to fill. So there's also gaps to the downside, so keep those in mind. But we do know again that this is a pretty strong support. So I'm not looking at those gaps unless it breaks this area, which is that 83 area. So as of now, it may just correct up here first, at least. It didn't fill this gap either. So it may be acting like the China stocks though, because that they gap and just be leaving gaps in the wind. SOXL, also a shooter on the month. So again, wherever this closes at on Tuesday, be looking for a break below that, and then the target would be 920. No 2-week signal or on the weekly, except you can just kind of see where it also has a PMG. A lot of the semis do. And you see it ran into its resistance. We had our sideways consolidation, and now it looks like it's falling. So looking to take out these folks here. It may take a while to do it, but that's what I'm looking at. Strong rejection here of the 200. And now we're like in between these EMAs. So really it just needs to break below this one. And then you can look for it to take out these folks below, because it's finding support here right at the $14. This is like the 50, I think. I'm getting with these lines. The purple one is, it's the 50. It's the 50. Yeah, so it's sitting on the 50 at the moment. But you can also see shoulder, head, shoulder. It's all just making the shoulder area. So once it breaks this range, then you can look for it to die. So KWeb. So we're going to talk about KWeb this time because we were looking at FXI and they're similar, but KWeb just has a better ATR. So of course, and China has moved well, but even though they beat earnings, they all fell. So there's no actionable signal really here, but I'm just kind of pointing it out because it's one of those ones that you can short or go long. If you're playing China, KWeb is a good ETF to play for that. KWeb or FXI. So there are still a couple of gaps here on the daily if it wants to continue to come down. I just want to point out that it's broken below its 200, where it found a solid support here before, and it's just it was weak this time. So it's below. Keep an eye on it for more weakness to the downside, or if it wants to correct up to fill some of those gaps. It's kind of similar with BABA. BABA just had its earnings. Been watching BABA because it was, once it crossed over here and fell, was looking to see it come fill this gap, and it filled them. It filled both of these gaps, but was also looking to see if the earnings would save it from this area, and it really kind of didn't. So still watching it because, you know, it's still at an area where it's like basically just below the quarter. It's like 95. Yeah, a little, well, $6 below. But it has changed, and you know, these this is how twos become threes. We still have enough time where this definitely could trigger the outside quarter and be completely bearish if that's the way it wants to roll. So, um, it did trigger the month. I had posted in Discord that it was looking to trigger that month at 90. It's holding under it, and if it wants to finish, it actually can do this before Tuesday. It's 85, so you know that's $4. That's 2 days for it to get to 85. So Baba may still continue to hit that monthly mark by Tuesday. So keep an eye on that, and then after that, keep an eye to see if it triggers the outside quarter. I mean, that's a lot for it to come all the way back down there, but you know, with what's been going on with China and whatever, we'll take what the charts are going to tell us. So, um, charts are saying it couldn't get past 120, and yeah, it's looking weak. So, keep Baba on your list. And then Robin had asked about Square. So, Square, same thing. A lot of these look like the same. They either almost hit their monthly targets or they hit their monthly targets and came back in. So looking to see where this finishes and then looking to see if it breaks below next month for a target of 62. However, I think it was on the week I was looking at Square. Yes, it was that. So the way it ended on the week, this is not quite a hammer, but it is a Strat setup if it does want to come back up and test this. Obviously, with the Strat, we would be looking for it to break above 78, and then your target would be this 84. If it can break this 82, which is the 200. So if Square does have some bullish activity, that's actually a good break to the upside. But also, you know, like I was showing y'all on the month, if it does continue to the downside, you do have PMG here and lots of targets to take out to the downside if it does reverse. So on the day, you see a rejection at the 200, but where it is kind of in an indecisive area, in my opinion. It also ended with a doji on the day. So again, you know, that break above, though, you can just look for it to do that Strat and come back up and, you know, test this area. Otherwise, then you could actually look for a 2 up, 2 down. This 72 would be a pretty strong support, and then you can look to take out the rest of these targets. So yeah, I like Square to see what it decides to do from there. It does have that Strat, possible Strat setup there, but if not, you know, it has the PMG to the downside that it can do. Really interested to see how that ends up. So we'll be watching Square this week. And Boyle, if I'm not mistaken, 434 is it? So it hit a new low. Yeah, it hit a new 52-week low. That's crazy. See, technical wise, Boyle is in a downtrend, a pretty strong downtrend, and this is one of those, like, not sure if it's going to stop, because last month I thought it would stop and then it didn't, and it kept going. And so at this point now, I guess it's psychological levels. You know, it did recover from 434. So that would be the next support, because that's where it recovered from. And then psychologically, it'd be $4, $3.50, $3, that sort of thing. But you have a 2 down, 2 up possible. So if it breaks above this $6, can hit 662 and then 782. You also have a PMG here and a huge gap, but that may take some time. So ideally, it'd be nice if it would maybe iron this area out and recover from here to go up. But it's just, yeah, I guess it's natural gas is just, I do know that we've been having a lot of places, not everywhere, but a lot of places have been having a warmer than normal winter. So I'm thinking that that's affecting natural gas prices. And that's why this has just been dying since it's for weeks. Honestly, it's been dying for a long time, since that last little pop. So yeah, it's hard to say with Boyle dying like that. This is its first resistance. So yeah, $6. This is the next $6.50. $6.89. It has a long way to go for me to say that this is back bullish. The 200 is way up here, way up there, and this is a 50. So, and it hasn't really broken above the 8 or the 20 since last year. So, I would need it to break above there, hold, break above the 50, hold, and then try to get above this 200. Otherwise, this looks like they just gonna keep shorting it, unless there's some type of news with natural gas that comes out or whatever. So, and then she also asked about TQQQ. It's really, this chart is going to look exactly like QQQ. It's the exact same thing. The weekly PMGs, these are going to be your targets. There's no actionable signal here, but on the month, you got that shooter. So wherever it ends at on the month, I would look for that breakdown. And then this is going to be your next strong support. It's not going to get there. 16, right around 16 will be my next target. So that's about right there. Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, on the 4 hour, it's all below. Kiki would like this. It's below the EMAs and stuff. And well below it's 200. Actually closed below all of them on the day as well. So this would definitely do like the 322 up. Break that 22, come back up here, test this 23. Could even chop around here because this is the shoulder, head, make a little shoulder, and then drop. So yeah. Snow, because we've been watching Snow, is printing a Shuta. So keep watching this. Possibly get to 120 next month. No actionable signal there or there, but you just want to be aware of it on the monthly. Got this almost double top here. Rejection of this 200. And it's like printing this 3131313131 in this downtrend. Excuse me, y'all. But we're under the EMAs here, so looking for Snow to come on down. Come on down. And then Airbnb. These are the couple ones that I had for y'all. Plays for the week. Airbnb has an inside week. So just looking to see whichever way it breaks. Of course, it closed closer to the downside. So if it breaks this 120, looking for it to get to this 109-ish area. It's also, it just filled this gap. So it did have several red days. So it may correct a bit before it continues. And then, of course, the first support I would have would be this 200 before it could possibly get to that. This is it, that 109 area for the weekly target. So keep that in mind when playing that. But it is also an inside 4 hours. So it's kind of doing the same thing that Snow was doing with the slow melt with the 313131. Yeah, so looking for that to come down and test this at least, and then the 109. And then TWLO, Twilio. Also, y'all know I love inside weeks, so that's what I'm going to bring y'all. It's also another 2-1 that closed closer to the downside, so looking to see that break. Keep in mind that this is like a huge mother bar area, so be mindful of that. I'm looking to see it like break with strength or to break to the upside with strength, either direction, but it needs to be like strength. Otherwise, I don't want to get caught in chop, but these are several targets that it can take out. So, keep that in mind. Looking at it on the day, so you have that hammer here on the day, so you can have some correction first. Break above, come up here and test that, and possibly come on down. So, or it could break above and go, which would trigger the 212 up. Because you see, you do have a pivot machine gun on the way down, so you could definitely go up and trigger that weekly up. So watch it really for either direction. I like it. And then crowd, Kiki has had us watching this for a while. And I think it's at a critical area. Like from here, it's either going to break out or it's going to die. And if it does break out, I'm looking for actually to come up here and test this area. With some time, of course. But yeah, the 212 up, if it breaks this 120-ish area, of course the first target is going to be that 125.45. And then I'm thinking about 137 and then 141. That would need time. So that's if the bullish, we have time frame continuity on our side here. The bullish activity continues. We do also have a lot of targets to take on the downside because we've gone kind of straight up with minimal correction here. So keep that in mind. But it has been looking strong. And then now we've broken above here and kind of found support. So if it continues here, we've actually closed above the 8, the 20, and the 50. If it continues here, of course, this on the daily, if you wanted to play it, the 212 up to the 120, then if it can break the 120, the 125, and then we have a gap here. And that's the gap for that zone I was telling you, that 136.50. And then, was it on the week? Yeah, that was the 136.50. It's like right there, yeah. And then 141.56. So there. Yep, so watching crowd. Also, if it stays in this little box area, though, I wouldn't touch it. Because otherwise I think it may just chop. But just looking for, strength to break above that 120 to go for this gap. Or the 212 down and die. And then I just wanted to really briefly just scroll through these. But these are a few of the 50% monthly that I found that could still do it in a couple of days. So like either they're almost there or it has a few dollars where it can make it in a couple of days. So take a look at those. I will also post those in the Discord. All right, so that's all I actually have for you guys today. Kiki, what's up, girl? Hopefully, you know what? I'm streaming on YouTube, so hopefully everything is going through okay.
Hey,
Hey, lady.
I really don't have much for this week. I just want to see how the market opens up since we've fallen so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I will. Let me see if I could take a look at McDonald's.
Okay. You need me to stop sharing? Wait, hold on. Okay.
Right, give me a second.
Mm, I wonder if I can see this from another computer. Oh, I can't. There we go. Okay. Yes. All right. I'm actually not able to see. Well, hold on. Let me go because I can't see the live chat. There we go. Hey, Jarvis. No worries. No worries. Let me know if you want me to look at anything, or if you have anything you want us to look at.
Okay, can you guys hear me or see my screen?
Hold on. Let me go to this. Yeah, hold on. Okay, yep.
Okay. Sorry about all the lines. So it's the inside for the month, which is good for the most part. Which means if you want to play McDonald's, I suggest buying more time on it instead of playing like a weekly because it has been kind of like a little bit choppy. We do end on the week. We did a 3 on the week. So I'm looking for a continuation down. I'm still holding a couple puts, but we did 3 on the week. And we had a 2-2 continuation from Thursday into Friday. And really, what I was looking at throughout the week was for it to stay under this trend line for price action, not to break above this pink trend line that I have here, or purple. And it pretty much stayed under for the most part. So initially, I entered puts here and exited over here. No, actually, I entered at the top. I did a day trade actually. So I entered here and exited down here. And then once I saw it was reversing a bit, I was like, okay, let me get out, and I entered again at the top, and I'm still holding, which I'm swinging into next week. Let's see if it continues 2-1-2, 2-1-2, another 2 down, and to retest last month's high or to break through it. So that's what I'll be watching for next week on the hour. Friday kind of traded a little bit sideways. So we had that little drop, and then I pushed back up. I exited down here. Then I got back in. And so now we're trading sideways. So I'm hopefully it trades sideways for a little bit and then continues down and respects this trend line. We have full time frame continuity down. We did end with a hammer, but it's a red hammer, so we just have to see how that plays out into next week. But that's what I'm pretty much watching. I don't have any other plays. I charted Tesla, so looking at on the 4-hour. We're under the EMAs, which is good, but we don't have the cross yet. Normally, when I'm looking for a put position, I like for the EMAs to actually have a cross. So the EMAs haven't actually crossed yet. So Tesla could do a 2-1-2 up in that direction and break through these EMAs and continue up next week. Or we'll get the cross if it tanks and breaks through this 190 area and continues down and starts to take out these targets. There's a little gap here too. I don't think it's gonna get that low. But going into next week, I wouldn't trade it until the EMA's cross or it makes an aggressive move up, and then I'll get into calls and try to target these price targets going up. Let me see on the month. It's the two up on the month, but we're actually starting to come back in a bit. So right here could be like an area of support too. From 2 months ago. So that's why that area is marked as well. So it can hit here and just continue back up going into next month. So that's just something to be mindful of. Not to think that it's going to continue down, but to be mindful of this level where it could possibly bounce. We have an inside week, which is good. We like inside weeks. So we're just waiting for it to break either in this direction or break below. Hopefully it does break below, but again, it's sitting on the 20 EMA as well, so it can use that as support to push up. So just something to be mindful of. As well as on the day, normally I don't like to trade stocks if price action is between the two EMAs, but again, the 20 is very important. It can either use it as support and continue up, or once it breaks here with enough volume and everything, these will eventually cross, and then you should feel comfortable holding maybe down to 55 or until it starts taking out these levels. But just be mindful of that. It should be the 4 hour, then we still have an inside candle, so it's a 1 on the 4 hour. It's just something to be mindful of. We want to wait for it to break with volume in either direction. Hopefully it does break down, but you just have to wait and see. On the 30-minute, kind of bouncing around at this 194 level. So again, it bounced here, went up, reject, we had a gap down, and it's been kind of basing a little bit, and also over here too as well. You can see that this 194 level is really important. Like, it went sideways and then continue up. Again, here, continue up. So we have these multiple retests of that 194 level. So it's important. So you just want to see if it breaks below next week, or again, it uses that support and goes back up in that same pattern. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for
Loving the inside week for Texas. Can you look at net, please? I just asked about net. Let me see if he I gotta check the comments real quick. I think net had an inside week. I think I was liking it. Yes.
oh, nice inside week. This probably needs to be updated, but got an inside a week on the month.
I'm starting to be able to eye fibs, and I feel like that's sitting at the 23% fib on the week.
Probably. Let me see.
Oh, 38. Okay.
Actually, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Shorter inside week.
And it already had its earnings. Did good
Right.
for its earnings. It ran, so it may be time.
Kind of looks like a shooter on the month. Green on the quarter. Normally stocks like to bounce at this 30%. Normally it hit the 30% and then go back up, but we shall see.
That's interesting. 1, 2, 2 down. I guess it is a 2 down, 2 up if it does. I
All
mean,
right.
Monday may be green. A lot of this stuff is looking like it's gonna be green on Monday.
I like it. I like it a lot. I have to chart it a little bit more, add some more, like look at it more in depth. But
Yeah, I think it could
I
be.
would like it to finally break out, really break out finally, because it's been beaten down for so long. I would like it to actually really push and keep pushing for a while.
Yeah, put your net on y'all watch list. Definitely see which way it's gonna go. It definitely has been beaten down a lot though. So
Hmm.
I don't know though, but if the market falls, it's definitely not gonna be able to run.
That's very true. That's true. It'll be a bounce and it'll go to like 64 before coming back down and doing like consolidation, like a little run up, and then come down and just go sideways a little bit.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, it's basically just flat. Like it's nothing. Yeah, I'll wait to see what it does. You just have to wait. It's nothing really,
Actionable.
yeah, to say.
Look for it to break the inside week, and then it may do something. Because I think that's above 64, right?
Hmm.
Yep. 64 below that 59 ish. So, yeah.
Yeah, but it's closer to going down, so we shall see.
If it does, 55 is the first target. Yep. So 59 break,
Hmm.
55 is your first target. So, yeah, I like that, Jarvis. He was saying that it's in the their cyber joints. I'm not sure if there was something with cyber that's supposed to be happening this week. But I do know that AI is another ticker I was watching and it's pulled back. So, but it's they all been running. So they may actually all need correction right now. So kind of I think you should
Right.
keep your eye on cyber stuff just for some correction, not necessarily to completely short, but just because they've been running for a while. So
Right.
yeah. But okay, let me see if I can. If anybody else has any questions, it's a different day, so really ain't nobody here. Um, nope. Okay. Well, we will be back Saturday. I'm gonna go back and watch this YouTube live, and hopefully, it was smooth and no issues from here. But otherwise, I guess I will talk to y'all later. Y'all
Alrighty.
enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, you too.
All right, bye. Okay, how do I stop? Let me stop.